good friend of mine had come to us, and she knew that we were lawyers, and we had never handled any cases for her. And she told us that her granddaughter was very, very seriously injured, but there was a catch involved. The catch was that her granddaughter was a passenger in a car driven by her own son. And that certainly presented complications in this particular case, because the way that the accident happened is the dad and his daughter were driving down the road. There were some cars parked on the side of the road for a garage sale, and the dad moved to the left to make sure that he didn't hit any of these cars on the side of the road, and was involved in a head-on collision with a car coming in the other direction. And this young girl, 4 years old, was the apple of the grandmother's eye. And this little girl could do no wrong. She was the love of her life, and she sustained a serious brain injury and was going through, not only surgical procedures, but a lot of physical therapy and speech therapy and occupational therapy. And she was falling behind at school and not developing like the rest of her classmates. And she too, had been to, some of the experienced law firms in the area, and who she thought of first. And they said, well, look, the little girl was in her father's car, and the father crossed over into the other lane of traffic, and had a head-on collision with another vehicle. It wasn't a lot that could be done for her. Now, I will mention that they had a very minimal policy. They were able to, the little girl was able to get a very small settlement against the insurance company for the dad, but it was very minimal. But this girl had some really traumatic injuries and some very big medical expenses. So I told her we would take a look at it, and we did some investigation. And what we found is that these cars that were parked on the side of the road, there was one car in particular, was over the shoulder and into the roadway. So the dad couldn't just continue to drive in his lane, but because this car was over the shoulder of the road, had to move over into the oncoming lane of traffic. And we were able to develop that theory, and we ended up with a settlement for this little girl who was 4 at the time, which over time was close to $2 million for the injuries that she is going to sustain. And this is after she was told that the only thing that they could do for her was this very minimal settlement against dad's insurance company. But when you peel back the onion and you take a look at the actual facts of the case, we were able to develop a strategy and a theory which really protected this young woman for life, in terms of any future medical treatment that she's going to need, any future college expenses or educational expenses that she's going to incur. So again, nothing ever replaces your health, when you're in an accident. But, if you can get the protection for your child, or in this case, your grandchild, so that they can have the medical expenses protected, they know their expenses are going to be covered in the future. That's a very, very good result for any young child.